Traveling can be really stressful. Traveling for work or school can be even more stressful. Add to that, filling out the paperwork, getting approvals, and justifying your need to travel to your boss. It can be really intimidating. The form has so many fields to fill in. How will you know where to start? The planning, preparations for lodging, directions to the city holding the event, directions to the event you are attending. What will you eat? Should you pay? And what if something comes up you didn't expect? All this, and we haven't even got to the entry fee, registration, and incidentals of the whole reason you're traveling, the event itself. You can rest easy. This video will take you through the whole travel authorization and claim form process. The first, and perhaps easiest step of completing the form is your authorization. It has 4 signature lines on the travel and claim form, but you only have to worry about the first one, as well as a cover sheet, or as the title reads, the Travel Justification Memo. This is easy. It's just a short but detailed paragraph that sums up your purpose for the trip and any justifications you may feel necessary written out in plain English. For example, it's just as easy as that. Let me finish up my note here. There, I've indicated where I need to go, what's going on there, and how it applies to what I do here at Sacramento City College. For this next part, you're going to have to do some research. But before we do anything, I want to point out something for you as a viewer. The form itself has some very helpful literature on the back that will answer many of the frequently asked questions. I won't cover them in this video, as this video is an overview of actions we require from you to get approval, and it's not going to be updated according to the questions we receive. That's what the back of the document is for. Now the detail work begins, getting your supporting documents together for your request or claim packet. That means getting together the information you could use to fill out the left side of the packet. This is where you will submit estimates for your expenses, estimates that you have paperwork to back them up. You only have to fill out this side if you have not yet taken the trip. Let's say you have 6 to 8 weeks before you have to leave, and you don't plan on paying for everything yourself. Then you can request a cash advance or prepaid expense. Otherwise, you can request reimbursement of your expenses after you return. We'll cover that method in just a bit. For this next part, it's really straightforward. Research online or via a pamphlet or flyer you received about the event for the cost of travel, lodging, meals, and admittance into the event. Throw in a value for the unexpected, and you're done. You just print out the web pages, flyers, or papers you have that gave those totals and submit them with this form and the plain English memo you created in the last section to your area dean, and they'll take it from there. Okay, so maybe it's not so straightforward. There are a few things to consider when filling out the amounts. The dates don't need explanation. You put when you'll be leaving and when you'll come back. The only thing to say isn't about the form at all, it's about your planning. Make sure you give yourself at least 6 to 8 weeks from the date of your trip when submitting your packet. We'll explain why later, but this is the second time I've mentioned it, and that's because it's important. Let's look at travel. Read the fields and fill in where appropriate. Are you flying or driving? If you're driving, is it a private vehicle you have access to or a district vehicle? If you are flying, you are going to want to write this down. www.caltravelstore.com. This is going to be how you select your airline and the best prices for flying. This is the district's travel agency, and you're sure to get approval on the price by using them. If you're driving, then you're going to need to show how you're getting there. Really, it's just to get an idea of the mileage and to prove your estimates. The back of the travel and claim form, under estimated expenses, Transportation will have the specific amounts for things like shuttle fare or where to go to get the current mileage rate so you can calculate your estimate for fuel costs. Then just add it up and put that number down. We are now on to the next and probably easiest estimation on the form, lodging. Just look up the rooms near the event you are staying at. Look for availability and print out the reservation, not a receipt. Here's a pro tip and something that can help you get the approvals that you need in a timely manner. The emails and flyers that get sent out from your event, well, they often indicate a hotel that's available. Those hotels often have discounted rates and can help you save money for your plans. Saving money helps everyone, but saving money also gets you your approvals faster. Let's say that there's no vacancies at the hotel you're supposed to stay at. Get a printout showing that, like an email or from the website itself. Then, start looking for a new hotel. Get a printout of the cost of your new room so that way you can justify any additional costs. Now we get to the whole reason you're going anywhere, the registration for the specific event. Admission charges, registration fees, and a little information about what those fees provide for you is all we need. It says here, lunch will be provided, but no other meals. It also says I need to be registered by July 15th, which is 3 months in advance, exactly what we want. It also says that the payee's name is Narrators of Public Education, or NOPE. Make sure that you gather all of the payee's information, either from their website or from the registration form. That is important information that the district is going to need to be able to send your registration directly. So just a minute. I'm being told that we're taking a lunch break. What's it? Oh. No, I'm reading that wrong. It's time to talk about food, the meals section. We can all eat like kings and queens if we're given the opportunity. No, I'm afraid you're going to need a budget. For my trip, I'm getting lunch provided to me, but that's only on the days of the week I'll be at the event. What about my trip home? Or the trip there? Well, I suppose that depends on my departure time and when I get back. These are all things you'll have to consider. The bottom line is, the meals have an allowance. It's our recommendation, you use it. You see, there's a reason the meals are after almost everything else, because at this point, you'll know just when you'll be departing on your trip and when you're returning. You see here the breakfast on your trip will be $10. That should do nicely for some coffee and a bite of something. My flight doesn't leave before 7. I won't even be in the shuttle before then, so no breakfast on the first day. But every day after that until I get back, we'll have breakfast. Lunches are $15. However, I won't be using mine except on the first day and the last day. My plane leaves at 1 p.m., but I'll need to take the shuttle to the airport at 11 a.m. Once I step onto that shuttle, my travel begins. I won't be arriving until around 2 p.m., so I get a lunch that day. For dinners, it's $31. I assume that includes tip. But, again, I'll need that every night except the night I return. Now, I just add all that up. Go ahead. All told, for a 2-day convention and 2 days of travel, we're looking at 153 smackers. These two sections are really a catch-all for things that don't fit into the other categories. Other is for specific items you know that you can get a receipt for and you'll have to pay for. For example, there's a toll bridge or a ferry that you have to take to get to the convention center. Maybe there's paid parking or a taxi that you have to take to get to your hotel. Whatever it is, it has to be something that you'll be able to support with a receipt on your return. The reason I bring up the receipt part so much is because of the very next line, the incidentals. This is just a flat amount that is granted to cover up all the things that you don't expect or can't estimate. This is usually only included if it's travel that takes you outside of the Sacramento area with an overnight stay. Say, for example, you're taking your personal vehicle and have to park at a parking meter. The reason it's so specific is that you will essentially not have any proof that you needed the incidentals. So, the The situation has to be appropriate in order to get approved. Now, if you're going to be traveling with students, that brings up some more specifics that we'll get to in a minute. First, gather up all of your papers and take them to your area dean. That begins the last and hardest step, waiting. Now, since I have to stay here and explain what's going to come next, my friend here is going to help us out. We don't have 6 to 8 weeks to finish this video, so our pal here is going to take the form from place to place, skipping through the waiting process. Don't worry, the Panther is the only one that can do this, so no one will be cutting in front of you when it's time for your form. It's first in, first out when it comes to approvals. Okay, go! Now the wheels are turning. After you get your division dean's approval, it then goes to the appropriate VP for their signature, and this allows for the College Business Services Office to process. Sometimes, the president's signature is needed for approval, and afterwards, your division will receive the 3 claim copies back. You are now approved to book your flight if needed and travel. On your return, you should submit the completed Part 3 of the travel authorization along with all original receipts to your division, no later than 3 days after you return. Once these are returned to the business office, you will be notified by the business service office if you need to pick up a reimbursement check. Hooray! And thank you for joining us for this basic introduction to the travel authorization form. For those of you who will be traveling with students, as a reminder, stick around and we're going to be covering that. For the rest of you, have a great day and safe travels. Okay, if you are still here, then you are looking to take students with you on your travels. Don't worry, there isn't much extra work to do, just some specific things that need pointing out. They mainly relate to the fact that you'll be needing more of a cash advance or having to pay the expenses out of pocket and be reimbursed after. That's not to say you don't have to plan ahead. As the supervising faculty member, you are the only one who can request event prepayments for all the attending students you'll be bringing, and any lodging or meals that are for the travel outside of the college services area. Like in our case, Anytown, Nevada. You'll see here you'll need all the students' names and their student ID numbers as well. Just like when you had to fill out the form for just you, take into account how far the trip is, where the lodging will be, and how many meals will be included in the various locations. For example, the event is providing lunch and the hotel is providing breakfast. You'll need to make sure that's all accounted for. If you are paying for the meals yourself, you would request a cash advance, and then at a restaurant you would pay for the students' meals. Any adjustments would have to be taken care of at the end when you turn in your form with the grand totals on the claims form. Also, as part of the student travel process, each student before travel is approved must complete an agreement to participate, waiver and assumption of risk form, and a student code of conduct agreement. Attach the agreements and waivers to your travel authorization when turning it into your division for approval. Well, that about sums it up. We hope you found this video helpful and informative. Once again, thank you and safe travels!